Hello, welcome to the Mediocre Takes podcast, the podcast where we share our mediocre takes on the shows and movies we watch. I'm Marco, and here's my co-host Mel. How are you doing, Mel?
I didn't bring this up previously, but did you know that HBO has been taking the animated Batman films off of their app?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, most of the ones we've reviewed actually are gone now. And this one
What?
is as well, but I feel like this one is the only one that I want off the app. So,
Yeah, that's crazy. I hate when streaming services do that. Like they did that with
yeah.
Infinity Train too.
Yeah, when it
Fuck
was
HBO, honestly.
when it was just HBO Max, it literally had every single DC animated everything.
hmm
And then now it's slim pickings.
That's really sad, honestly. Anyways, today we're talking about a terrible Batman movie. We're continuing our Batman animated movie marathon, and this time we're talking about the disgusting Son of Batman movie. We neither of us really want to talk about this movie, so let's just get it over with. So, in Son of Batman, Ra's al Ghul is murdered by Deathstroke, who takes over the League of Assassins, and Talia, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, goes to Batman for help. It is revealed to Batman that Talia and him had a son named Damien when Talia sexually assaulted him that Batman did not know about. And it's up to Damien and Batman to defeat Deathstroke and save Talia. That's pretty much the movie. Okay, so I found this to be an overall strange movie, and the first thing I want to talk about is how unnecessary the sexual assault mentions are in this. Like the sexual assault did not need to be there. Like it was mentioned, and the way Batman says yeah, I get that you sexually assaulted me, but I still had a good time. And then later he kisses Talia, the woman who sexually assaulted him. Like what? And drugged him? Like what? What?
Yeah, there is actually something so sinister about writing an essay confession so casually. Like, Talia literally admits to drugging him and having non consensual sexual interaction with him, and she has the audacity to say, "Was it all bad, beloved?" Ma'am, you literally need to be put on the list.
Yes.
And the way they treat it like nothing, like it was just a casual conversation, malicious intent. That scene really felt like they were pandering to the guy degens who fantasize about being a student and being essayed by their teacher.
Yes, yes.
Like it just gave like major, like specifically that vibes. Also, you know what they could have done instead of essay?
No, nope. Let me say this before you do, because
You
I
say it, you
literally
say
wrote
it,
it down.
because I bet
Okay,
you were on the same
yeah,
wavelength.
we're okay. So before I talk about what I was gonna say, I also just want to mention that Damien was listening to that whole conversation the entire time. What? What? Like he was right there, like on the other side of the door.
Not even the door; it was a curtain.
Yeah. So back to what we were getting at. My question is, I'm pretty sure it's canon in some Batman media that Talia and Bruce have had romantic and sexual relations that isn't sexual assault, right? Like one of the main ships in Batman media is Talia and Bruce. So my question is, with all that being known, why didn't they make it so that Bruce and Talia hooked up and maybe were dating at some point and then just broke up and she got pregnant around the time they broke up, you know? It could have been as simple as that.
That's why I'm saying that they're pandering, because there's literally zero reason except for someone had some weird sexual fantasies that they just slipped in here, and for some reason, everyone who read that script and worked on this was like, that's okay. And I don't know. I don't know. I feel like everyone who worked on this was deranged.
Yeah. It's so unnecessary when you really think about it, and it only makes Talia as a character who I think the writers want us to kind of root for be unlikable and creepy. Like she literally drugged someone. What? Why would I like her in this movie? Okay, so another question, Mel. You know more Batman lore than I do. So how well liked is the Talia and Batman romance overall?
You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I am very one track minded or whatever, I guess. I'll say I've never seen a lot of hate for it, but I also don't really interact with it, I guess, because I'm always rooting for Batman and Catwoman.
Okay, yeah, okay. So let me say what I wrote down. So, as someone who doesn't know that much of the Batman lore other than from the Arkham games, because that's where I got most of my Batman learning from, I can say that I know that Batman has been shipped with a lot of women in his media. Now, I know that some of these ships are questionable, but Talia and Batman seems like one of the reddest fucking flags I've ever seen, especially considering that she kind of thinks the way her father does, you know?
In this.
Yes.
I've seen other iterations where she's not really aligned with him.
Okay. I personally haven't like really seen that, so I'm taking your word for it. Which begs the question, are there people who are a fan of this ship? Because I don't want to meet that person. You're telling me someone actively chooses Talia when Catwoman is literally right there? Like, what? Like, Catwoman and Batman are just so perfect, you know?
I 100% agree with you.
So my second problem with this movie is Damien and his character growth. I feel like throughout the entire movie, Damien wasn't listening to Bruce at all and just fought to kill most of the time. He only listened when he was forced to. So when Damien near the end of the movie decides not to kill Deathstroke, it felt out of character. I feel like there wasn't any character growth or character buildup to this change in character. Mal, do you agree with me on this? What do you think?
I am almost as new to the character Damien as you are because he is a fairly new character.
Hmm.
And I really just don't like him as Robin. So yeah, I'll say I just feel like a movie was not a great way to introduce him because he was raised by like some of the best assassins in the world, and I feel like more had to happen to him personally, and there should have been more time for him to show growth than was allowed in this film.
Yeah, definitely. It just felt really rushed and like a total 180 near the end. I really enjoyed the fight scenes in this movie. However, that isn't that big of a compliment because like we've mentioned before, in most like DC animated movies there's usually good fight scenes, at least based off the ones I've seen so far. I actually didn't mind this Batman's voice actor. I'm not sure if I've heard this voice actor before, but it reminded me of another voice actor from a Batman movie we've seen, but this one just felt like more solid in my opinion. I wish I kept track of the voice actors because now I don't know who's who, honestly.
Actually, I think this is his first the voice actor, this is his first Batman role. I'm pretty
Really,
sure. Yeah.
I think he did a good job overall, honestly.
Hmm.
Do you disagree?
I did not like any of the voice acting in this except Damien's voice actor.
Yes, Damien's voice actor was really good considering that the voice actor is a literal child also.
Yeah.
I was very surprised about that. Damien felt overpowered for a 10-year-old. Like he's 10.
Yes. Wait, yes. Like there was this scene near the end when Deathstroke and Damien are fighting, and there's literally this scene where Deathstroke stabs him through the forearm, like into a wall. And the
Hmm.
kid literally he pulls his arm through the blade, which LOL no, but also he cannot fight with that arm afterwards. Like I know that there is always a sense of realism in comics, especially in like the Batman part of the comics because we're dealing with a lot of mortals, I guess, and like non-alien, non like metahuman people.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for Damien to be this powerful when he's literally a human mortal child.
Yes.
Like he shouldn't be capable of that.
Yes. Exactly. So after I watched this movie and felt angry about it for a while, I want to do like a bit of research on like Damian Wayne as a character because I just don't think he's that good of a Robin, and I was interested to see like what they do with him in the comics. And I will say, from what I've heard, I feel like the comics focus on more like his trauma as a character because he's literally grew up like being a child assassin. So I feel like there's just a lot this story could have gone with like his character. I get that he's trying to act serious on purpose because like he's a child assassin and everything. However, there definitely should have been a child side to him, and I feel like we didn't get any of that throughout the movie at all. Like in the first Batman comic where Damien is introduced, one of the first lines he says is, "I'd assume you'd be taller." And it's said here in the movie as well. However, what I noticed is that the reason Damien says that in the comic is because he has like this really high view of Batman. And so when he sees like that Batman is just kind of like a regular dude, he's like, I assumed you would be taller, you know? However, when Damien says it in the movie, he says it to be like kind of snotty and bratty. And I just feel like this movie was a huge missed opportunity for Damien. And I feel like I could have liked his character if they went a different route with him, more aligned with the comics, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I will give this movie credit. If there's one thing they did get right, and I think this is the only thing they got right, it's the relationship between Damien and Bruce. They're kind of awkward in the way that Damien is a child assassin and doesn't know what it's like to be a child, and Bruce is super serious, and they clash because they're both trying to be in control of the situation, but they have different ways of going about things. And I actually kind of liked that aspect of this movie. I wish we got more of it, honestly. I don't think Damien should have become Robin so quickly. I feel like the real Bruce Wayne would be smart enough to know that's a bad idea, but the writers needed a way to progress the plot, so they just kind of forced it, especially when you consider like a few minutes before Batman decides Damien is going to become a new Robin, he's like yelling at him and talking about how he's basically a criminal. This movie overall was just bad. Okay, and my last note is that there's this line where Talia says, "I'm the only one who's allowed to bite you," which is so gross. Ew. And I just needed to mention that.
Okay, there is something so funny, not only about someone winning a gunfight with a sword, but also 20 helicopters bombing an assassin temple. The beginning was supposed to be serious. It was supposed to set the tone of the movie, but all it did was make me giggle because of how ridiculous it was. Again, I know that this is, this is fiction. This is based off comics and stuff. But again, there is some realism that needs to exist, and I'm just saying a man deflecting bullets with a sword, I just don't like.
Can I just say, I forgot to mention this? I feel like Ra's al Ghul dies too quickly in this movie. Like, for someone who's lived as long as he has, I feel like he should have more like things in place in case someone tries to attack him. So the fact that they're just training with swords and that's the only weapon they have, and like the only other weapon they have is like these arrow shooting station things, like it just felt weird. I get that he kind of wants to stay in the past or something, but like he should have been prepared for like modern technology or something, or like something. I don't know. I feel like the attack on the League of Assassins was just done too easily. Like it was too convenient, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
And to that, I'd also say, how are you going to make a man be capable of, once again, deflecting bullets with a sword, but he dies? Okay, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So I understand having Damien like cut all those hedges. It is a way for them to show off Damien's skills, but also this is such a nitpick, but it feels like it's weird that Bruce would have all that, especially there were ones that were shaped like giraffes, which made absolutely no sense to me, but that's a nitpick. I think the one of the many issues I have with this movie is how they're all straight men. Like we have no comedic relief characters. The closest we have to that is Talia, but she's a sicko, so she doesn't count. We watched Batman films whose tone was pretty serious, but with them, I also felt like there were light moments and or likable characters. They all just seemed so irritated with each other and annoyed, which made me irritated and annoyed. Do you think this universe's Commissioner Gordon cheated on his pregnant wife? I'm sorry, but I'm always gonna have to bring that up now.
No, we can't mention that every single time.
I think I have to. I think every single time we see Commissioner Gordon, I have to ask.
Oh my god. Wait, we should make a tier ranking video on this. Which
Which Commissioner Gordon cheated on his pregnant wife?
yes.
Write it down, write it down, write it down.
April Fool's special, you guys.
Except it's not a joke, Marco.
Yeah.
No, but I like that idea. But do you think he cheated on his wife? His pregnant wife?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think
It's
he
just
didn't.
the vibes.
I don't think he did. Not in this.
Really?
Not when there's, I think with the Bruce mess, with the Bruce and Natalia mess, that's enough mess. I feel like Gordon, he's staying normal in this.
But the writers.
Shit, you're right. Fuck, no, you're right. No, you're right. In this one, Commissioner Gordon cheated on his pregnant wife with someone incredibly younger than her. That's what I'm guessing based off of how these writers write things. So I did not like that there were multiple Man-Bats because it completely ruins the story of Man-Bat, and they turned him into fodder, which as a fan of Man-Bat, I did not appreciate.
Was it just me, or did the designs of the Man-Bats look kind of weird?
It looked like Man-Bat.
Really? I felt like, I don't know, something about it felt off in my opinion. Maybe it's because I was recently watching the Batman animated series Man-Bat episode, but like something about it just felt off for some reason. I can't explain why, but yeah, I just have to mention that.
Nah, that's a Man-Bat. Yeah, it's just you. It's just you. But justice for Man-Bat. Also, oh, speaking of characters that don't look right, Bruce's face looked wrong. There felt like there was something not right about his face. It felt like they drew Damien and then they were like, okay, so how do we make that Batman?
I agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I totally forgot what his face looked like, but looking at it now, I agree with you.
Yeah,
And
it looks weird.
I think they did that on purpose because one of the lines is he's like the spitting image of you when you were a child or something like
Oh
that.
my god, then make Damien look like Batman. Why'd they have to make him look weird?
Yeah, and that's strange.
Also, I just feel like it doesn't make sense for Bruce to advocate to keep Damien at this point in his life. I don't know. I feel like Batman just it feels like Batman would take more time to consider this and to prepare things for him. I feel like it'd make more sense for him to be like, "Hey, I know this private school that you can go to and then you can come stay with me for a while." But I don't think it makes sense for him to immediately just like scoop up Damien. I also think Bruce didn't show the emotional maturity in this that would lead to him like wanting to take Damien in. I also want to say this is our first Batman animated film in the DC animated movie universe, which is a timeline I think I hate.
Okay, so my question is how interconnected are these movies actually?
Actually, I actually can't remember, but I feel like the Justice League ones are pretty connected. And I feel like Batman has the same suit in all of them as well.
By the way, you guys, we're not going to be reviewing the Justice League movies, but we are going to be reviewing the Superman movies, the animated ones at least.
Oh my
Uh,
god, yeah, next year.
next year, yeah, or
Yeah,
maybe the year after that.
maybe. Yeah, we do have a big long running plan for next year.
Yes, we do.
And hopefully the Batman films will be done by next year.
Probably.
Most
By the
definitely.
rate
We're
we're
going to do
going,
another marathon.
yeah. By the rate we're going, we'll definitely be done by next year.
Yeah, finally, jeez. And there's only like what, seven, eight Superman animated films, so we're good on that.
Overall, I think this was just a bad movie. I just feel like there were wrong choices made with these characters. Batman felt like he wasn't completely thinking at some points. And I get that Batman can be emotional at some points, but like the way he chose for Damian to become Robin just felt like it needed to be done for like plot reasons, not like something like Batman would actually do at that point in time. I did like the fact that Nightwing almost called him like a little fucker or something like that. That was kind of great, but I hate that Alfred like said no or something. I think it was either Alfred or Batman who was like language, and but Nightwing really should have cussed him out. Honestly, Damian was just such a poorly written character in this movie, and I feel like he has potential, at least based on what I've seen in like the comic media that I've seen so far. But I just want more, and I also didn't want Talia to be so weird in this movie. And we did we talk about Killer Croc at all?
No, sadly, we forgot about him.
Yeah, okay. So we did mention that we both like Killer Croc. I think in Batman Gotham Knight, and we've both mentioned how we felt like he could have been used more as a character just in general. So I just want to mention it again, use him more.
Use him more or cut him out. Like I don't know, I just feel like he doesn't get the recognition and the stigma that he deserves.
Yeah, yeah. Free our man.
Also, there's so much you can do with Killer Croc. Like, one of his backstories is literally like he looked weird as a kid and he was bullied for that. And this doctor was like, I can fix you. And then he made him into a monster. Like, you can do, oh my, you can do so much with him. I was miserable watching this. It had unnecessary and badly handled essay, voice actors I didn't like, and a villain I absolutely despised. I don't think I mentioned this, but I absolutely hate Deathstroke.
Can I just say, I'm not the biggest Deathstroke fan. However, I've seen him in other media, and I think he's written like way better in like pretty much every other piece of media I've ever seen him in. In this movie, he just felt like really out of character. I just want to mention that.
You can say he acted and sounded like a whiny bitch.
Yeah, I did say that before we started recording. I said he was like pretty much just a whiny bitch or something like that. Did I say that?
Along the lines.
Yeah, he just felt really weird. This movie just felt really unserious, honestly.
The thing is, it was unserious, but they were acting serious, which is the saddest part. Oh, yeah, and once again, Gotham felt empty. The only good thing this movie did for me was make me realize how not bad some of the previous animated Batman films were.
Okay, Mel, it's time for the question I ask every time we do a Batman anime retrospective episode, and that is if you had to predict where you would rank this from S to F, where would you put it?
F or fuck that shit.
Do you even have to explain yourself?
Never.
Never.
And what's so interesting about this is I don't keep a list of my rankings. You do that. But I was sitting here and I was like, there is no possible way that I could have ranked anything in the same category as what I'm going to rank this in. And I don't think this is. I think this is my first F.
Yes, it is your first F. And it's also my first F. So great for
Yay!
us. We did
I'm glad
it.
we're on the same page again.
Yes. Yeah, this movie was just bad, honestly. It was so unnecessary. And decisions were made. Decisions were definitely made.
You know what
And
we
that's
should
all I
start
have to say.
doing?
What?
We should start saying whether or not the people should watch or skip this, the
Oh
Batman
yeah.
film.
Oh yeah, this is a definite skip.
Yeah, this is a total skip. Skip this
Yeah.
one. Read the comics.
Yeah.
Skip this one.
These characters are just like dumb bitches, honestly. So I don't know, like Google best Damian Wayne like comic or something. I don't know.
I have not read a single comic with Damian Wayne in it. I can assure you, like, just literally put a blindfold on and point your finger somewhere, you'll find a comic that depicts Damian Wayne in a better way than whatever was going on in this movie.
Yes. This movie is just all over the place. It was bad. There was weird decisions made, like I mentioned before, especially with Talia, especially with Damien, and how overpowered he is. He's a 10-year-old. What is he doing? Yeah, anyways, let's continue.
No, you're right. Let's continue. Deathstroke is a bitch. What'd they do with Man Bat?
Batman
Oh,
was so weird in this movie. Like he felt kind of out of character. Nightwing and
Nightwing who? He appeared for like 5 minutes in total and he
yes.
contributed
Yeah,
absolutely nothing to the story.
yes. Exactly. Again, this is the second time where he's barely using the story. Like he's just kind of there. Like are you going to participate at all?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's interesting is Alfred totally could have replaced every scene Nightwing was in.
Yes. Yes. And Alfred was actually sarcastic towards Damien, which was great. But that's pretty much the only thing that was good about this movie.
I mean, I literally have no transition for this because it just sucked ass. But you know what doesn't suck ass? The Mediocre Minute.
Can I just say
Yes,
you
Marco.
said
Oh,
you said I don't have any transition for this, and then you came up with the like perfect transition. Like,
okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for the compliment. But yeah, the Mediocre Minute, of course, being a tiny little micro moment where me and Marco recommend books, comics, music, games, and more for you all to check out instead of watching this movie. Please. I am going to recommend something that I actually thoroughly enjoyed, which is the comic The Jurassic League. That's right, the Justice League, but make it dinosaurs. I do have to say, it's not as whimsy or silly as it sounds. It was actually a pretty good and engaging story, and I absolutely love the art style and how each main character was a different dinosaur that just fit the character. Like, of course, Wonder Woman was a Triceratops, and the Joker was a Velociraptor. That absolutely makes sense. This was genuinely an amazing limited series, and I hope DC does more stuff like this in the future. Marco, what is your recommendation?
so I also was thinking, trying to come up with like a segue for how to recommend my thing, and yeah, I was basically like, if you want something that doesn't fucking suck and that will make you happy and that's actually good, then I recommend Little Gator Game. So Little Gator Game is this short. I personally only the main campaign was like only 4 hours. It's pretty short. It's a 3D platformer, and it's basically about this little gator boy or girl. I don't know what their gender is honestly, but
He was a gator boy. Sorry, okay.
stop. But basically, their sister is back from college, and the main character just wants to play pretend with their sister. So basically, you're kind of like doing a whole role play thing throughout the entire like island that you're on. You have like a little wooden sword, and you're like attacking these little wooden monsters. So it's kind of like a Legend of Zelda game, but if it was a play pretend game, it's basically that kind of format. You have all these like little fun mechanics like a slingshot. You have like a shield that you can like sled on. It's just a really fun 3D platformer, and the story was very like bittersweet, and it made me a bit sad when I first played through it, but it has a happy ending and it's really sweet and I really enjoyed it. And yeah, that's my recommendation.
And both of these recommendations will be in the description of this episode.
Anyways, you guys, That's our thoughts on Son of Batman. If you want to send us a voice message on Spotify for podcasters, there'll be a link in the description to do so below. We also have Instagram and Twitter at MidTakesPod, and that's everything. So goodbye.
Slay. Actually,
Slay.
not slay.
Not slay at all.